Chapter 22 of the Circular Staircase. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Ana Sofia Simão de Portugal. The Circular Staircase by Mary Roberts Rinehart. Chapter 22 A Letter Out of Place. At dinner, Mr. Jameson suggested sending a man out in his place for a couple of days, but Elsie was certain there would be nothing more, and felt that he and Alex could manage the situation. The detective went back to town early in the evening, and by 9 o'clock Elsie, who had been playing golf, as a man does anything to take his mind away from trouble, was sleeping soundly on the big leather davenport in the living-room. I sat and knitted, pretending not to notice when Gertrude got up and wandered out into the starlight. As soon as I was satisfied that she had gone, however, I went out cautiously. I had no intention of eavesdropping, but I wanted to be certain that it was Jack Bailey she was meeting. Too many things had occurred in which Gertrude was, or appeared to be, involved, to allow anything to be left in question. I went slowly across the lawn, skirted the edge to a brick not far from the lodge, and found myself on the open road. Perhaps 100 feet to the left the path led across the valley to the country club, and only a little way off was the footbridge over Casanova Creek. But just as I was about to turn down the path, I heard steps coming towards me, and I shrank into the bushes. It was Gertrude, going back quickly toward the house. I was surprised. I waited until she had had time to get almost to the house before I started, and then I stepped back again into the shadows. The reason why Gertrude had not kept her tryst was evident. Leaning on the parapet of the bridge in the moonlight and smoking a pipe was Alex the gardener. I could have throttled Liddy for her carelessness in reading the torn note where he could hear, and I could cheerfully have choked Alex to death for his audacity. But there was no help for it. I turned and followed Gertrude slowly back to the house. The frequent invasions of the house had effectually prevented any relaxation after dusk. We had redoubled our vigilance as to bolts and window locks, but, as Mr. Jameson had suggested, we allowed the door at East Entry to remain as before, locked by the Yale lock only. To provide only one possible entrance for the invader, and to keep a constant guard in the dark at the foot of the circular staircase, seemed to be the only method. In the absence of the detective, Alex and Elsie arranged to change off, Elsie to be on duty from 10 to 2, and Alex from 2 until 6. Each man was armed, and, as an additional precaution, the one off duty slept in a room near the head of the circular staircase and kept his door open, to be ready for emergency. These arrangements were carefully kept from the servants, who were only commencing to sleep at night, and retired, one and all, with barred doors and lamps that burned full until morning. The house was quiet again Wednesday night. It was almost a week since Lewis had encountered someone on the stairs, and it was 4 days since the discovery of the hole in the trunk-room wall. Arnold Armstrong and his father rested side by side in the Casanova churchyard, and at the Zion African Church on the hill a new mound marked the last resting place of poor Thomas. Louise was with her mother in town, and, beyond a polite note of thanks to me, we had heard nothing from her. Dr. Walker had taken up his practice again, and we saw him now and then flying past along the road, always at top speed. The murder of Arnold Armstrong was still unavenged, and I remained firm in the position I had taken, to stay at Sunnyside until the thing was at least partially cleared. And yet, for all its quiet, it was on Wednesday night that perhaps the boldest attempt was made to enter the house. On Thursday afternoon, the laundress sent word she would like to speak to me, and I saw her in my private sitting room, a small room beyond the dressing room. Mary Ann was embarrassed. She had rolled down her sleeves and tied a white apron around her waist, and she stood making folds in it with fingers that were red and shiny from her soap suds. "Well, Mary," I said encouragingly, "what's the matter? Don't dare to tell me the soap is out." "No, ma'am, Miss Innes." She had the nervous habit of looking first at my one eye and then at the other, her own optics shifting ceaselessly, right eye, right eye, until I found myself doing the same thing. "No, ma'am. I was asking, did you want leather left up the clothes chute?" "The what?" I screeched, and was sorry the next minute. Seeing her suspicions were verified, Mary Ann had gone white, and stood with her eyes shifting more wildly than ever. "There's a ladder up the clothes chute, Miss Innes," she said. "It's up that tight I can't move it, and I didn't like to ask for help until I spoke to you." It was useless to dissemble. Mary Ann knew now as well as I did that the ladder had no business to be there. I did the best I could, however. I put her on the defensive at once. "Then you didn't lock the laundry last night?" "I locked it tight, and put the key in the kitchen on its nail." "Very well, then you forgot a window." Mary Ann hesitated. "Yes, ma'am," she said at last. "I thought I locked them all, but there was one open this morning." I went out of the room and down the hall, followed by Mary Ann. The door into the clothes chute was securely bolted, and when I opened it I saw the evidence of the woman's story. A pruning ladder had been brought from where it had lain against the stable, and now stood upright in the clothes shaft, its end resting against the wall between the first and second floors. I turned to Mary. "This is due to your carelessness," I said. "If you had all been murdered in our beds, it would have been your fault." She shivered. "Now, not a word of this through the house, and send Alex to me." The effect on Alex was to make him apoplectic with rage, and with it all I fancy there was an element of satisfaction. As I look back, so many things are plain to me that I wonder I could not see at the time. It is all known now, and yet the whole thing was so remarkable that perhaps my stupidity was excusable. Alex leaned down the chute and examined the ladder carefully. "It is caught," he said with a grim smile. "The fools, to have left a warning like that! The only trouble is, Miss Innes, they won't be apt to come back for a while." "I shouldn't regard that in the light of a calamity," I replied. Until late that evening, Alty and Alex worked at the chute. They first down the ladder at last, and put a new bolt on the door. As for myself, I sat and wondered if I had a deadly enemy intent on my destruction. I was growing more and more nervous. Lydia had given up all pretense at bravery, and slept regularly in my dressing room on the couch, with a prayer book and a game knife from the kitchen under her pillow, thus preparing for both the natural and supernatural. That was the way things stood that Thursday night, when I myself took a hand in the struggle. End of chapter 22.